And so higher mind, just checking now that it's going to be okay for us to go on a search, now the energy field is clear, into the memory banks, thank you, to relive and explore this lifetime where this challenge would have been put in place. And so in a moment, Sabrina, I'm going to invite you to visualise, to imagine a pathway or a corridor leading off from your safe place, depending on whether you're inside or outside. And as you make your way along the pathway or the corridor, you're going to find that there are entrances of some sort. Now they might be doorways, they might be archways, they might be columns of light or mist, it really doesn't matter. The important thing is that one of those portals, one of those entrances, is going to stand out for you. And I don't know whether it will be a different colour, whether it will be a different shape, or whether it will be a feeling that lets you know that you've come to the right one, as Higher Mind guides you. But when you find the appropriate one, Higher Mind can just signal to me with a yes. Thank you. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to make your way through that entrance. And when you step through to the other side, you're going to find that you are fully immersed into the experience. You will see, hear and feel what was going on back then. You'll be able to talk to me and share with me what you're experiencing. And you will find that the sound of your voice will just help you to go even deeper into the experience. And you just share whatever it is that comes up, even if it doesn't make sense to you at first. So in your own time now, when you're ready, I want you to step through the entrance. And when you step through to the other side, just tell me what you're aware of.
I see a forest.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And is it daytime or nighttime?
It's daytime.
It's daytime. And can you get a sense of what you're wearing on your feet? Whether they're covered or whether they're bare?
Bare.
They're bare. And can you get a sense of what you're wearing on your body?
It's a white dress.
Uh-huh.
Flowy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how old are you? Are you young or old?
I'm not young, but I look young.
Mm-hmm. And is anybody else there with you?
No.
And where are you? What country is this?
I don't know.
Well, what's the first place that comes into your mind?
Heaven.
Okay. And what year is it? What's the first date, the first number that comes into your mind?
7.
Uh-huh. Okay. And so tell me, what are you doing here in the forest?
I just wanted to come here. It's really good to be here.
Uh-huh. Why is that? Why is it so good to be here in this place?
Because I feel I can relax and recharge.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have to do anything.
so you can allow yourself to enjoy this space. And tell me what else you're aware of here in this space. So you're aware of the forest. What else are you aware of?
There are things, but I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Light and crystals and waterfalls, rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I see fairies, and there are things moving around, but I don't know what they are. And I think I can talk to the animals.
Yeah.
And I see a little bird sitting on my hand and talking to me.
Mm-hmm. And what's the bird telling you?
Hi, I'm here to guide you.
Yeah. And where would the bird like to take you? Where is it that the bird is going to guide you to?
I don't know, it looks like another door.
Yeah. And then what happens?
I'm in another place now.
Yeah. And so tell me where you are. Tell me what you're aware of.
It feels really big and spacious. I think it's dark. Maybe it's nighttime.
And are you inside or outside?
I'm outside.
And are there buildings? Is it countryside?
I see a city, I think.
Yeah. And where are you? What country is this? What's the first place that comes into your mind?
I think it's London.
It's London, yeah. And what year is it?
In 1937?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And can you just take a look down and see what you're wearing on your feet?
Some shoes.
Yeah.
Red shoes.
And what are you wearing on your body?
Some funny clothes. Corset and
And how old are you?
20.
And what's your name? What is it that people call you?
Ramona?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And is there anybody else there with you? Yeah, who's there with you?
Man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And tell me about this man.
It's like not just one man, but it's man there is.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to use me.
Mm-hmm. And what is it? What's happening? Mm. Why is it that these men want to just use you?
They can't see me and knowing they try to kill me.
Why is that? Why is it that they tried to kill you?
Because they don't see my worth. It's like I'm nothing.
I know. And so tell me, who are these men that aren't seeing your worth, that aren't seeing?
I don't know them.
You don't know them. And so what is it that you're doing here with them?
I'm sleeping with them.
Okay. And so tell me what happens. So you're here in this space with all of these men and they're not valuing you, they're not seeing your worth, and then what happens?
No, it's good. My throat hurts.
What's happened to your throat?
Okay, it's suffocating.
You're suffocating, and what's happening? What is it that's causing you to
He's strangling me.
He's strangling you.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
And my body's on the streets.
you see your body there on the street. And then what happens?
And then I get to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to leave. And then what happens?
You go back home.
And you get to go back home. Yeah. And tell me what happens. How is it that you get back home? You leave that body and then what happens?
I just become light again.
You become light again. Yeah. And how does that feel to be light again? That's better, isn't it? So you just take a moment. Good that feels. Let's return back to your true nature. And then what happens? So you return back to being light, and then what happens?
I had to do some work again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And I just have to come back.
Yeah, you will have to come back. And what is it that you're planning for? What is it that you've decided to do when you come back? What's the plan?
I want to teach.
And what is it that you're going to teach?
I'm going to teach about the heart.
And what in particular is it that you need to teach about the heart?
That the heart controls everything.
Yeah.
And the only way that we find our true essence is through the heart.
Yeah. Now, I happen to know that there is a part of you whose heart wasn't doing very well just a moment ago. So we have some repair work that we need to do. We need to do some healing for that part of you, that part of your soul that struggled at the end of that life. And we need to understand a little more about what it was that happened to that younger you, that version of you. So I want you to know that at the count of 3, you're going to find yourself back in that lifetime as Rowena, but you're going to find yourself back at a very early part of that lifetime, to the very first significant thing that happened in that lifetime of Rowena that may have led to the choices that she made in her life that led her to where she ended up. So at the count of 3, you're going to find yourself right back at the very first significant event in the lifetime of Rowena. And you know that you end up in the spirit realms, back home, so it's safe for you to go on the journey now. So at the count of 3, finding yourself all the way back at the earliest point the earliest significant point in Rowena's life. So ready. 1, 2, 3. So tell me, what are you aware of now?
I think I'm alone.
Yeah. And
My
how old are you?
parents died.
What happened to them?
They got sick.
They got sick, yeah. And how old are you?
11.
You're 11, yeah. So what happens? How is it that you survive?
I had to look after myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do? What is it that you do to survive?
I let men touch me.
Okay. And so let's just move you forward to the next key significant event and tell me what happens. So move your awareness forward to the next key event and tell me what happens next. So tell me, what are you aware of?
I think I'm 15.
Yeah.
And I'm in love.
And who are you in love with?
Some man.
And tell me about this man. What's he like?
He's a liar.
And how does he treat you, this man?
He says he likes me, but he doesn't. Oh, he hits me. He says he's going to look after me, and that the only way is for me to listen to him and to trust him.
Yeah, he wants you to trust him.
But he just wants to use me.
And so what is it that he wants you to do?
He just wants my money.
And so what happens? Tell me what happens with this man.
I had enough.
Yeah. You had enough, so what do you do?
I give him some poison.
And then what happens?
And he's gone.
And then what happens? Tell me what happens next.
And then I'm alone again.
Yeah. And how old are you now?
17.
And so then what happens? What do you do next?
Which is to what I've been doing.
And then what happens? Let's move to the next key significant event.
And just used over and over. I can't trust anyone.
And you can't trust anyone.
No.
Okay. And so just move your awareness forward to the next key significant event. Tell me what happens.
I'm in this bar or something, and
Yeah.
I'm talking to this guy, and he's very handsome. And I thought I could trust him, but they trapped me. And I tried to trust him, but they trapped me and they killed me.
And who are they?
I don't know, they.
Okay, so we're just going to move your awareness all the way to that point when your lifetime is just coming to an end. And then we're going to float you straight up and out. And as you float up and out, I want you to just be aware for me of the very last thought that goes through your mind. Very last thing that you think of as you leave that body. And just allow you to float to a safe space up there in the spirit realms, just up and above that body. And as you float up and out to a safe space now, tell me, what is the last thing that goes through your mind?
Oh. Didn't get that one. It is alone. Something wrong.
Yeah. And what were the emotions, what were the feelings that you took with you from that lifetime? What were you feeling as you floated up and out of that body?
Pain.
Yeah.
Regret. And that you can't really trust man with your love.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to look back down at that body that you've left behind. That body that had been thrown aside, I know. And that had been strangled. And we're going to send some healing down to that body. So as you scan that body with your spirit awareness, I want you to just see what it is that that body needs. And we can either send in healing energy, we can send in a team of medics, we can even send in angels to do the repair work that's needed. So what needs to happen in order to repair that body?
to come
Yeah. And what colour light needs to come in to help to restore and repair that body?
in. White and green.
Yeah. So what I'd like you to do is just to see two beams of pure white and green light flowing down from that portal and bathing that body. That white and green healing energy flowing right into that body. And as it does so, just allowing that light to start repairing and healing all the damage that had been done. Cleansing that body. And clearing away all the residue of those men and their energies. And then what starts to happen as you send that healing energy down into that body, what happens to it? Mm-hmm. And has all that damage been repaired now? Paying particular attention to the area around the throat. Is there anything else that's needed to help to repair the damage that was done to the throat?
Yes.
I wonder, what does it need?
I need to be heard.
To be heard, yeah. Yeah, okay. Good. Well, in a moment you're going to get the opportunity to be heard. So for now, let's just send some blue light, send some blue healing energy into that area around the throat. Just sending blue healing light into that area around the throat, repairing all the damage. That's it. We still have some more work to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to float that body up now. That body that's now been healed and repaired. And that healing that will be reverberating into both this body and all the other bodies that are connected. But we're going to float that body up to where you are now in the spirit realms. Floating her all the way up. Because in order for you to be fully heard, what I need you to do is to float back into her for a short time. We're going to float back into her. So we can find out exactly what it is that was going on in that lifetime. So, first and foremost, I would like you, as you float back in, so that you're, now that that body has been healed and whole, so you're going to float back into that healthy, vibrant body now. And then the first people that we're going to call in is your parents from that lifetime. Those parents who got sick and who died early. The parents that had to leave you as an 11-year-old to fend for yourself. And so as you invite in those parents, what would you like to say to them now that you weren't able to say back then?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And what is it that you're thanking them for?
For my experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what do they say when you thank them for the experience?
They tried to help,
Uh-huh.
but they couldn't.
Yeah.
It was my choice.
Mm. And so I want you to just check with them and find out if they're part of your soul group, if they're part of your soul family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what was it that you had agreed to experience before you went down into the earth plane, in the interlife space with these two? What was it that you signed up for? What was it that you all agreed to experience together? When you ask them, what do they say?
They were helping me to
Yeah.
experience being by myself.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay. And so they did a very good job, didn't they? By leaving when they did. Okay. And how many lifetimes has this challenge been in place for you? This challenge of being alone, being by yourself?
Many.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And having looked at that lifetime now, I think we can safely say that you experienced what it was like to be on your own. And in those many lifetimes that you've been through, you will have had all kinds of different versions of that. And that's true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we can safely say that you have ticked the box now on what it's like to experience being by yourself. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, that box has been well and truly ticked. Which means that you no longer need to have that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's been completed, it's been done. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the contract that you had signed, agreeing to be tested with regards to being by yourself. And when you bring the contract in, how do you see it? Is it on a scroll? Is it on paper? Is it?
It's on a scroll.
It's on a scroll, okay. And what I'd like you to do now is to give yourself permission to be free from it. We're going to rewrite that contract, that agreement. So what I'd like you to do is to get rid of it in whichever way feels relevant for you. So you can either tear it up, you can set fire to it, you can dissolve it. What would you like to do with this scroll?
I'm going to tear it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so as you tear it up, I want you to take great pleasure in doing so, as you know that you're releasing yourself now and freeing yourself from the need to be tested in that way ever again. So with each tear, with each rip, you're just giving yourself permission to be free. That's it, letting it go and releasing it. And then I want you to know that nature abhors a void, so we are going to replace this contract with a new one. So we're going to bring in another scroll, an empty one this time, and you now have permission to rewrite it in a way that is going to be beneficial for you, in a way that is going to be beneficial for you and for the souls around you. So what would be a healthier agreement for you to put in place? What's going to be a healthier contract for you to rewrite now that you have permission?
I agree on learning how to trust.
Yeah.
By being in a healthy relationship and opening my heart to the person I love.
Wonderful. And anything else?
No.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I want to see those words written in big, bright, beautiful letters on this new scroll that I agree to learn how to trust by being in a healthy relationship and opening my heart to the person I love. I'm going to see those words written on that new scroll, and then what we're going to do, we're going to roll the scroll up so the words are safe. And then we're going to shrink that scroll down so that it's really tiny. And then we're going to drop it right down into your heart centre, into that little spark of light that exists right there at the core of your being, right there deep down in your heart. Into that little spark of light. Can you see it there? And as that contract, that new agreement drops into there, it's going to light up that spark of light, and it's going to start sending that energy all the way out to the edges of your energy field. It's just going to expand and grow and get bigger and brighter, so that it moves all the way up to the top of your head, all the way down to the tips of your toes, and it's going to go all the way out to the tips of your fingers, and then all the way out to the edges of your energy field. And as it does so, it's going to reset the information that's stored in your cells. It's going to rewrite that language that exists within you as you give yourself permission to experience trust and love and heart opening, giving yourself permission to bring in a healthy relationship where you learn to trust yourself and the other person in that space. So we're rewriting on a cellular, molecular, neurological, even at a DNA level, that code, that language within you. And then we're going to send a beam of light from your heart centre out along the grid that's connected to all the lifetimes that your soul has lived and is yet to live. Particularly all the lifetimes that were connected to that contract, that agreement with regards to you being by yourself. All of them being rewritten now, permission given to bring in healthy, loving, trusting relationships so that you can be supported on your journeys through those lifetimes. And as that energy is rewritten and that message is received by all parts of your soul energy, I'm just going to invite you to come back now to those souls that were your parents who had to leave in that lifetime. And now they see how you've changed the agreement and what you've changed it to. How do they respond? What do they say?
They are really happy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. And do they have a message for you now that you've changed this?
Yeah.
And what's that message?
That I've done the work that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I need to stop doing what I've done so many times before. And being so hard on myself on the lessons.
Yeah.
That they bit proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
And they are always with me and they know me very well. And they love me so much.
It's nice to be reunited with your soul family, isn't it? And I want you to just check for me with them, or just get a sense of whether there's any recognition of who they may be in the lifetime in 2015, your current lifetime. They won't look the same, but energetically you may get a sense, you may know who they are. And who do you recognise them to be?
I don't know.
So is there any sense of who they are in your current life? Yeah. And who is it that you recognise them to be?
The people I work with.
Okay. So you know that you're in the right place then. And so what do they want you to know about your mission this time? And how they're going to help you?
They're going to be with me and help me to do the job I'm going to do.
Yeah. So what I'd like you to do is to open your heart and send a beam of light from your heart centre into theirs. Allowing them to send their light back to you. So that you reconnect with them. And you share with them this new agreement, this contract that gives them permission also to open their hearts and to allow that trust. And to allow them to experience a healthy and loving relationship in whatever form it takes. So that they're free now also of that agreement where they had to leave you in the past. They no longer need to do that. They can let that go. And I'm sure they're much happier about that. And so what do they say when they receive this new message and permission to do things in a different way? So we're going to bless them with love now, and we're going to let them go. All the while knowing that you will be reunited with them again and again at the end of every lifetime, and they'll be with you along your journey. And so there's never any real separation. But there are some other people that we need to bring in, and I need you to bring in this man that you put your trust to, and the man who didn't turn out to be quite as good as you thought he was going to be, and who you chose to use poison to end his life. So let's bring him in, shall we? And here in this safe place, where you are fully protected and safe, what would you like to say to this man now that you weren't able to say back then?
I'm sorry.
And how does he respond when you tell him that you're sorry?
He smiles.
And does he understand why it was that you took such drastic action?
Yes.
Yeah. And so is there anything that he wants to say to you about his treatment of you?
He's sorry too.
He's sorry too. And let's just check with him what it was that he thought that he was going to benefit from or going to gain by treating you in the way that he did. Was this something that he had grown up with? Was this something that he thought was normal?
Yes.
So when he was growing up, how was it that people treated each other?
Not very nice.
Not very nice. So when he was a little boy, what was it that he learned about the way people treat each other?
There is no love.
That there was no love. Yeah. So let's imagine, shall we, floating all the way back to the little boy that he was back then, in that childhood where he received no love. And when you see that little boy that's there, who grew up in a world where there wasn't any love and people didn't treat each other well, what does that little boy need?
Love.
He needs love, doesn't he? So how would it be if you were to open up your heart and send a beam of light and a beam of unconditional love into the heart centre of that little boy, so that he actually does understand, so that he does know love? You fill him up with the light and unconditional love from your heart centre and tell him that he deserves to be loved and that he doesn't have to do anything or be anything to deserve love. That he deserves it, that he's worthy. And as you fill him up with that light and love, how does he respond? How does that little boy respond?
He's really happy.
He's really happy. And how do you think that little boy would have grown up differently? If he had experienced love in his life, if he'd grown up in a space where he'd known love, where he felt love and he knew how to share love, how do you think he would have treated you differently?
He would have been able to love me.
Yeah.
Like I loved him.
Yeah. And so can you see that he just didn't know how because nobody had shown him?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it doesn't make it okay what he was doing, or even what you did, in a way, but now that you understand that it was just that lack of love in those early years that caused that bad thing to happen, are you able to forgive him for what he did?
Yes.
Yeah. And when you forgive him, how does he respond? And is he able to forgive you for what you did to him? Now that he understands that it was his lack of love that... Yeah. And how does it feel to have that released? To know that you can let that go now?
It's good.
Yeah, it's time that was released. Wonderful. And now I want you to just check with him and find out if he's part of your soul group. And when you ask him, what does he say?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And how many lifetimes have you had with him?
10.
And what's been the theme of those lives? What is it that you've been working on together?
Unconditional love.
Okay. Now that presupposes that you've had to test each other to see if you can still unconditionally love each other, no matter what you do to each other. And that's true, isn't it? Okay. So the contract between you, the agreement that you signed up to, where you would test each other with regards to unconditional love, I need you to bring it in. Bring in that scroll and just tell me what it says. What was the exact thing that you agreed to?
We agree to learn how to open our hearts to each other, even if we don't have any love for each other.
Yeah. That's quite a big call. That's quite a big ask. But here in this space in the spirit realms, you just did that, didn't you? You just forgave each other. And you just sent love to each other, didn't you? Yeah, you were able to forgive and to understand. And so even though in that particular lifetime you weren't able to complete that mission, you've just completed it here. Which means that you can also now be released from this contract. So this agreement, this contract where you said that you would learn how to open your hearts to each other, even if there wasn't any love there, you may now release it. So what would you like to do with this contract?
Burn it.
Okay, yeah, good. So let's set fire to it, and you can use a candle or a torch or a match, whatever it is that you need, and let's just set fire to it. And as you do, you can take great pleasure in watching the flames clear away those words. As you release yourself and you set yourself free from that contract. And then as the energy of that is cleared, as it's released, we're going to bring in another contract, an empty scroll. And what's going to be a healthier agreement for you to put in place with regards to unconditional love? And this doesn't have to be connected to them, But what are you going to give yourself permission to experience with regards to unconditional love from now on? What's going to be a healthier contract for you?
I agree to love myself unconditionally.
Yeah.
Regardless of any situation or tests that I might be put through.
Yeah. Perfect. Anything else?
No.
Perfect. Okay. So again, just seeing those words written in big, bright, bold, beautiful letters, that I agree to love myself unconditionally, regardless of any situation or tests that I might be put through. And then we're going to roll the scroll up so that those words are safe. Shrink it down so it's really tiny, and once again we're just going to drop it into your heart centre. Deeply down into that central core of your being, into that spark of light, and then just allowing that energy just to expand out right the way out to the edges of your energy field, all the way out, deeply embedding into every cell, every fibre of your being, into every molecule, into those cells that are holographic. And that's it. Permission to love yourself unconditionally. And then we're going to send a beam of light along the grid that's connected to all lifetimes that your soul has lived and is yet to live. Permission to experience unconditional love for yourself. And allowing that message to really fully embed itself deeply at every level, on a soul level and in a current life level. And then what I'd like you to do is to send a beam of light and that energy of unconditional love straight into the heart centre of that man that was with you in that lifetime, so that he too is free from the need to test or challenge you, and he too is free to love himself unconditionally, no matter what it is that he's experiencing or going through. So that as souls on your journeys through lifetimes in the future, you can support each other and help each other, and you don't need to test each other anymore. The lesson is complete, it's done. And as you send that energy to him, giving him permission to love himself unconditionally, how does he respond now that it's been changed?
He's free.
And does he have a message for you now that this healing has taken place and now that he's free?
Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. I just want you to check for me and see if there's any recognition of who he is, whether he's appeared in your current life at all. And who do you recognise him to be?
Someone I know, I dated.
Okay. And does this make sense to you? Yeah. Okay. Good. And so you'll now know what the lesson was about. and what the experience was about, so we can bless them with love and let them go. Knowing that you can continue on the journey with a greater sense of freedom now. So we can bless him with love and let him go. And then there are some other people that we need to speak to. Because there was a group of men who were there with you at the end of your life, and in particular the one that was responsible for taking your life, the one that was responsible for strangling you. Now we can bring them in, and if you need any help or any assistance, we can bring in guides or anybody else that you need. Do you think you need any support? You can handle them. Okay, good. Alright, so we're going to bring those men in now. Those men that were there at the end, who were responsible. And what would you like to say to these men that you weren't able to say back then?
Thank you.
And what is it that you need to thank them for?
For them agreeing to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because what was it that you needed to learn from that experience? Or was this part of the same test of loving yourself unconditionally? Was it the same test or was it a different one for you? Let's just ask them, what was it that you had agreed on?
It's the same.
It was the same. Okay. So it was about loving yourself unconditionally. Yeah. And you didn't in that lifetime, did you? No. But you understand it now. Yeah. Okay. And so are these men part of your soul group?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you've changed the contract, now that you've understood it and you've got it, I want you to send that energy, that beam of light from your heart centre into the heart centres of these men, to really prove to them, to really show them that you've got it and that you now understand that you have to love yourself unconditionally no matter what, and that you can now, no matter what's going on around you, no matter what the circumstances or the tests, that you will carry that energy of unconditional love in your heart wherever you go. And you give them permission to experience it too. And how do they respond?
They're really happy for me.
Yeah. 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 And what we need them to know, because on a soul level I know they understand it, but on an earthly level there was an element of their nature that didn't honour and respect and value you in that lifetime for who you really were. So in order to make sure that they don't make the same kind of mistakes again, what I'd like you to do is to, just for a moment, just allow each of them to experience the hurt and the pain that you suffered as a result of being treated as though you were nothing, as though you were worthless. We're just going to project onto them for a minute how they made you feel at the end, because I want them to understand it on an earthly level, the consequences of their actions. Because in their human form they hadn't acknowledged and valued you as a human being. And so as you allow them to understand the consequences and to become aware of what it is that they were doing by devaluing your life in that way, when they realise what they were doing, how do they respond? What happens?
It hurts them.
Yeah. And how do they feel now about what they did to you? About what they did to a woman? about the way they treated you?
They feel really sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I suspect they didn't realise, did they? They had no idea. And so again, let's just backtrack. Let's just float all the way back to the time when they were small, these men, when they were young, to see what they witnessed, how they saw women being treated and what they believed about women. And what was it in those really early years for all of those men that they had grown up believing?
They believed that women were not worthy and dirty.
Yeah. 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 And so all the way back at that early point when they had picked up those messages, let's just send beams of light and unconditional love back to them, back to the little boys that they were. Sending that light and love into their heart centres, filling them up with the energy of unconditional love so that they see that everybody is equal. That whether they are man or woman, dog, cat, that all beings on earth are worthy. And they all deserve to be loved unconditionally, to be respected, to be honoured. As they find that spark of light inside of them, it reminds them. Yeah, it reminds them of that spark of light that exists in everyone. And then just allowing that energy, that healing energy, to filter through. Because if they had been shown in those early years as children that energy of love, how would they have grown up to be different?
Very different.
Yeah. And how would they have treated you?
With love, respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, now that you understand, and they understand where that came from, are you able to forgive them for what they did? And are they able to forgive themselves? Yeah. So we can release that now. And they will know that from now on, as they move through their journeys, to remember that spark of love that exists in everyone. Yeah. And so, as you scan them, I want you to just double check for me and see if there's anybody there, any of them from that group of men that you recognise from your current life. Is there anybody there that you know, that you recognise? And who do you recognise them to be?
Two people I met.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've done many lives together.
Yeah.
Many lives together.
Yeah. Okay. And do you want to share who that is?
Oh God. Okay, well, this is what I'm getting. I don't know if it's true or not. They're two friends. And
oh, you don't have to reveal it now. You may want to.
Okay.
But you know.
I know.
You know.
Yeah.
And does it make sense to you?
I can even see all the lives that we had right now. but it's just so weird.
Yeah. And so just send that healing light along that grid that connects to all the lifetimes that you had with these two.
Okay.
So that it's released, so that it's able to rewrite. And just seeing how those lives would have changed as a result of that energy of love being brought in. And do any of them have a specific message for you? Any of these men, now that this healing has taken place and we have the understanding that we need, do any of them have a message for you?
That they love me very much.
Yeah.
And then they are very proud of the work I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very grateful and thankful.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So we can bless them with love now and let them go. They can turn back to their soul family, the rest of the soul family in the light. And then I want you to just scan and check and see if there was anybody else from that lifetime that you needed to speak to. Was there anybody else from that lifetime?
My mom.
You want to speak to Mum again? Yeah, so let's call Mum in. What is it that you'd like to share with her? Now that all this healing's taken place, what would you like to share with Mum?
Unconditional love.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so just send that beam of light from your heart centre into the heart centre of Mum, so that she really feels it. Just fill her up so that it lights up that spark of light inside of her, so that she too has permission to love herself unconditionally. And to share that energy of unconditional love with those that she meets, those she connects with. And how does she respond when you send her that energy of unconditional love?
She's very happy.
Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, we'll bless her with love. And then there's something else that we need to do, because I know that we're able to rewrite these contracts, and as a result able to alter the experience that you can have in your lifetimes. So I want you to know that in a few moments' time, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. And when I do, we're going to send you back to that lifetime. We're going to send you back to the early years of that lifetime, even before your parents left. We're going to send you back this time, but with the new agreements in place. So we're going to send you back into a version of that lifetime where you don't have to be on your own, where you don't have to be by yourself, where you have permission to experience